This is December 7th, 1982. This is Joe Todd interview with Mr. Raymond B. Akin. Okay, Mr. Akin, now you're past president of the...
Past commander
of the World War I Veterans Association?
Yes, I'm past barracks, and presently district, past department, past region, and past national commander.
That's the badge of the national commander?
That's my past national commander, but incidentally, I'm the second national commander from Oklahoma. The other was J.B. Cook, who find plenty about in this history that we have.
Why was the World War I Veterans Association set up?
It is set up for the purpose of giving the veterans of World War I who were beginning, this was set up in 1948, Pioneer Barracks number 1, Cleveland, Ohio. Incidentally, in 1978, when I held my national convention in Cleveland, Pioneer Barracks number 1 was the host barracks in Ohio. Set up for the purpose of giving getting the things that apparently had been forgotten about World War I. It was set up in 48, shortly after World War II, when all the emphasis was on the more recent veterans. The veterans of World War I were the ones who were responsible for getting the original GI Bill, getting the various veterans hospitals and such things as that. But in turn, we were being forgotten completely. So a bunch of them got together, and for the purpose of remembering World War I, we've got a string, and I forgot to bring that along, but of the objectives, and of course, they're for fraternal, historical purposes, for the fellowship, getting together on the things that we felt needed to be done, not only for ourselves, but for everybody else, or all of those. And in time, the veteran of World War I got to be the forgotten veteran, and of course, probably is partially our own fault, because of the fact that we wanted to be sure that when the buddies came back from World War II, that they didn't come back to the same thing that the veterans of World War I did. No jobs, a depression, and there was no job insurance or of any sort or anything of the kind. It came back. Incidentally, the average education of the veteran of World War I was a scant 6th grade. And majority of them had not completed high school. Some of them, several of our members here, well, we've got one of our best members, John Brown from Waurika, who is probably as well educated along the engineering line as anybody, but 4th or 5th grade was the limit of his formal education. Those that got education, the average one, they came back, they'd come too many from the farm and all, they went back to the farm, but the Depression came along, and you know what happened then. But then another one that was used, reason it was used, but it was not one of the original, and that was to get a service pension for the veterans of World War One. We here, and the head of the pensions and compensation section of the veterans of World War One made a remark to me as national commander that the veterans of World War One had received practically everything that anybody else since had. This person should have known much better. I'm not going to mention any names, because the name has appeared in print many a time. But the principal thing we were interested in is, gaining our historical place, getting together, and enjoying the fellowship of the organization itself.
It was 1948.
1949 was the first one. And the national organization was not chartered until July 1958. In fact, our charter for the Department of Oklahoma was issued before we were issued the national charter.
Where's the headquarters for the Oklahoma Veterans
What?
Department? Where's the headquarters for the Department of Oklahoma? Oh, that's you.
Well, I've got the records, and am the fiscal officer. We had until they had to use it. We still have a place over and lots of our records are stored over in the Veterans Memorial Building over here, 2311 North Central. And we had offices over there, but we didn't have the manpower or the finances to staff it, and it's now being occupied by the DVA, the legal counsel to be exact, the Department of Veterans Affairs.
How many members are there in Oklahoma at the present time?
At the present time, our last year's membership, and that's still the current membership, of course, the 82 membership, was about 800.
So these are all veterans of World War One.
These are all veterans of World War One, male or female. We have a number of World War One nurses. I don't know whether we have any of the telephone girls that were served Pershing in France. Whether we have any in Oklahoma, I've been trying to find out and haven't been successful. But you see, in 79, year after I went out as commander, Congress passed a bill making the telephone girls of World War One veterans of World War One, and also making the women ferry pilots of World War Two, classifying them as veterans as well.
Approximately how many nurses are on the rolls? The women.
Well, we only have in the department right now. We only have 2, and I don't know. I say we have 2. The 2 that I knew, one of them's living. She's a member of, or she's a patient at the nursing care center at Tallahassee. It's Genevieve Herron from Edmond.
Genevieve Herron?
Yeah, Genevieve, Herren. From Edmond. She's a member of Barracks 515, but she is in one of the 5 Oklahoma Veterans facilities.
Who's the other woman?
The other one, her name was Paradise, and I don't know whether she's still living or not. She was from Anadarko. And I suspect she's gone because she's not on the membership list, although that wouldn't necessarily mean, because some of them drop out in spite of everything.
Her last name is Paradise?
Last name was Paradise, and I don't remember the first name. I haven't seen her for a lot of years. I got acquainted with her when we had 1961 convention in Anadarko.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell me what some of the major things that you have accomplished with the department besides the original GI Bill? You mentioned that. What are some of your major objectives?
Come again? I didn't.
What are some of the major things you've accomplished? You said you had the first GI Bill passed. What else?
We each year we are working. We were instrumental in getting the veterans of World War I entry to hospitals and so on, second only to service connected. In other words, anytime a veteran of World War I needs hospitalization, he, as soon as beds are available, he is in line. Outside we got outpatient. We were responsible for a lot of this outpatient work, and also for the changes in the matter of pensions, and we have tried year after year to get the pensions, service pensions that they get, updated to compare with the times and with the average age of a veteran of World War I now is right at 87 years. I'm one of the kids. I'm 83. And it's between 86 and 87 years. We've tried to get better, and are accomplishing it gradually, but very slowly, better conditions for the widows in particular. According to the present compensation, a widow only gets a little over half of what her husband was getting when he passes away. And it costs her just as much to live as a single veteran. And they are, a lot of them, while they're younger than the average, younger than the men, nevertheless they're getting pretty far along.
What else? Okay.
Well, we have made, as we've made some accomplishments for veterans in the state. Incidentally, veterans of World War I were instrumental in setting up the Veterans Council, of which I've been a member. The Veterans Council started in the year R.B. Knight was commander.
Whenever it was the barracks were first set up in Oklahoma, how many members did you have in the beginning?
Well, number 26 in Duncan had 30 members. 515 in Oklahoma City, or Midwest City. 99 charter members. That's the one I happen to be a member of. Then 1098 at Ardmore with 15 members. Comanche County in Lawton had 86 charter members. And then Harry Kaiser Barracks, number 1177 in Bartlesville, was organized with 35 charter members, but they never got off the ground, really.
You know how many total in the state when it was set up?
Let's see. 30, 129, 316, 51. We had, when this was organized, we had about 400 members.
Mm-hmm.
That's when the department was organized. To put in a copy of our bylaws. And it gives the purposes. There's 7 or 8 of them. They're, my memory, like the old gray mare, she ain't what she used to be. But purposes, and then we have had, and I've forgotten what year it was, we've had a high of over 2,400 members. But we have no replacements. The only way you can be a member of this is to have an honorable discharge from military service in which you have served at least one day between the dates of April 6th, 1917 and November 11th, 1918. We have no replacements. Our national membership, our national eligibility from 4,734,000 plus is now down to less than 400,000, of which we have national membership of better than 55,000, which is not too bad considering the fact that I would judge that 75% of our members are either housebound or in nursing homes.
Do you provide any services for the veterans, like in the nursing homes, or they're housebound?
The Veterans Administration makes payments for veterans who are eligible for pension. If they're on a pension, if they're housebound or get aid and attendance, there's a fixed rate for that. As we, our benefits, in other words, come through the state and national Veterans Administration. You see, just the 16th of October, they dedicated a new 100-bed addition to the Ardmore nursing facility there, and that has increased the nursing capacity. Also, they have domiciliary for those that are able to go to and from the dining room and more or less physically take care of themselves, but need a place to live. And as you probably know, we have 5 of those.
Where are they located, those 5?
Okay, the mental, there's a mental ward at Norman facility. There's Sulphur, Ardmore, Clinton, Tallahassee. And I've forgotten how many the combined occupancy of. And incidentally, there's a 6th one in process right now at Claremore. They're working on if all the state budget cuts don't get them. Why, it's well along in the planning stage.
How many World War I veterans live in Oklahoma today?
Right now, I wouldn't have the slightest idea. At one time, they said there were 10,000, but that's been several years ago. I haven't any idea. Judging from our membership, there may be 5 or 6,000, maybe more. Mm-hmm. Frankly, it's the hardest thing on earth to keep up with. It's merely an estimate, a guesstimate, in other words, all the way through. Incidentally, the state of Oklahoma has more and better facilities than any other state in the Union.
Good.
And believe you me, I've been all over the United States and visited many of these. As far as state facilities are concerned, we're second to none.
Now, are these facilities only for World War I veterans?
No, they're for all veterans.
For all veterans.
They're for all veterans. Yeah, we have them from World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam. Anyone that needs care, needs a certain nursing care, and so on, can qualify. As soon as they can get to the top of the waiting list, they're taken in.
Now, is the one in Ardmore, was that formerly the Confederate home in Ardmore?
That is the old Confederate soldiers' home.
Of course, no more Confederate soldiers left.
That I know. But it's a former, I say. Then it's later made into a veterans facility, and with the addition of that new nursing center, it is something.
When that was the Confederate home, did it receive federal funds?
I don't know. I'm not a native Oklahoman. I came to Oklahoma the first day of April, 1944, from Texas.
What part of Texas?
Wichita Falls. I'm one of the original cadre of civilian instructors that set up that airplane mechanic school down there in 1941.
We're going to get into that later. Do you know if there are any Spanish-American War veterans living in Oklahoma?
Not to the best of my knowledge. I think there are only, according to the Stars and Stripes, which I've been getting for many, many years, their numbers are down very scant, and I've forgotten now ones they named. In fact, for their commander-in-chief, they're beginning to redo them.
Yeah, I was hoping there would be, but...
Well, to the best of my knowledge, no.
Okay, is there any other objectives that you haven't mentioned, or what's the future of the association going to be? You know, after you say there's no replacements, whenever they're all gone,
the future lies in our auxiliary. Just like the Spanish-American War veterans, daughters of the Spanish War, well, the auxiliary anyway. They're running it, and in a few years it's going to fall on our auxiliary, which are younger, because they take in daughters and granddaughters. It's going to fall on them to actually do what little work there is as far as the association is concerned. We right now we're facing financial problems. I happen to be the national budget director. and I got the October 31st or September 30th audit, and we're going to have to do some tall figuring if we last very much longer. And here's the thing that's happening with our organization. The hub of any barracks is the quartermaster, who's the finance officer, and usually that quartermaster and adjutant too. Pardon me. When we lose a quartermaster, we have to lose a barracks.
When you lose a quartermaster, you lose a barracks. What does that mean?
Means that when the accountable officer goes, why, nobody takes up. I'm in my 17th year as a department quartermaster. And sure, I was asked to run again for department commander. I refused. For the simple reason that I think I'm more good to them as a quartermaster. Because I don't know who we'd get for quartermaster. And they're all hoping I live a long life. But
how many active barracks are there in Oklahoma now?
Well, active and semi-active. The ones that have members, in other words, there are 23 barracks with members. But two of those, unless I can find somebody to take over as quartermaster, will lose for next year.
Where are they located, those two?
One's at Clinton, another one at Gary. We've got several that are not meeting regularly, but they're keeping up their membership, and after all, membership is one thing that we need, Because whenever we try to get anything done, they always say, how many members you have? Of course, that's an unfair question for us anymore. But nevertheless, if we've got a good percentage of the survivors, why, it isn't.
What are the main duties of the quartermaster, of the accountable officer?
The quartermaster is responsible for the finances of the barracks. He collects the dues, transmits them to the department quartermaster. He keeps the financial records all the way through, and is mainly responsible for seeing that is one of the main factors in keeping up our membership and in controlling the activities. It's the same way as mine is. Reporting deaths and making in general, I'm duties of a fiscal officer. I got a whole long list of them, but when they come in, I know what I'm supposed to do.
So your future is going to depend upon the auxiliary of the department.
This we will have to, because and they're not increasing their membership like they probably should. But trouble is that these daughters and granddaughters, too many of them are still working. And we have anymore, there's very few of our members that are still licensed to drive at night. I'm one of the lucky ones. And so we have our meetings now at noon. 5:15, of which I'm a member, and meets on the second Thursday at Post 170 American Legion. We meet next Thursday, and here's something that, excuse me, it opens up. This was the 20th one of these. This was started by then Department Commander J.B. Cook, later on National Commander, in 1963, with the help of Governor Henry Bellman. And we give a good program, but the only trouble is that we don't seem to get any kind of attendance like we should. We had Harlan, Senior Vice Commander of OG&E, gave a wonderful address there, the program all the way through. And let's see. I gave you that list of department commanders.
Yeah, that's being Xerox now.
Yeah. Yeah, here it is. It's 81. Now the present commander is, I'll leave this with you. I've got
Okay, thank you.
mother. Mansfield repeated.
Mansfield repeated.
Yeah.
It's going to be John Lovejoy next year.
If we can twist his arm, that may be difficult. John has had some trouble. And also, we've got a list of the and incidentally, that gal is my wife. She's been gone since 1977.
Now, these are presidents of the auxiliary?
These are past department presidents of the ladies' auxiliary. And incidentally, Mansfield is now Region 10 commander. Region 10 is Arkansas, Louisiana, Oklahoma, and Texas. And we have had, let's see, Dorsey Trump, myself, R.B. Knight, Walt Camel, and now Mansfield for past. I guess I've got them in there, all in there, except of course Walt Camel died day after I got back from the National Convention, 27th of August. Our National Convention this year was in my home state, Iowa. And
trying to think if there's anything else.
those are last few department convention. That is, as what we advocate too, as the barracks disbands, they give their colors, charter, and such things as that. We advocate that they give them to County Historical Society, and so that they live on in that one in Lawton when they disbanded. Gave theirs to the Armed Services Y there in Lawton. If you've been down there, you probably know where it is. They built a special case for the colors and a lot of memorabilia and so on. And
So whenever Will your memorabilia come to the State Historical Society?
What?
Will your memorabilia come to the State Historical Society?
That's the intention.
That includes all the,
What?
does that include all the colors and the records of the department?
That includes the colors and whatever records you want. Records of the department would fill both of those.
Probably a lot of good information in there.
There is a lot of good information. We've got the membership books for all the years I've been quartermaster, which is, well, this is number 17. Except for the time Walt Campbell took over while I was national commander. And this is our intention. And you got people like P Gilmer, Bob Mansfield, and myself, and several others. We feel that this is the proper place because there's a lot of Oklahoma history. There's a lot of historical names in there too.
Mm-hmm.
See all those. John Walton was our first commander. My gosh.
Was Roy Hoffman a member of the...
Where was he from?
Well, he was from Oklahoma. He was a brigadier general in World War I. He may have been deceased by then. I'm not sure.
To the best of my knowledge, since I've been a member, I do not recall the name. That is as a member. I recall the name, yes. But
he may have already been deceased because...
Well, see, I go back, I started there as department adjutant and went to here. Then I was commander, and I hadn't been, my successor hadn't been installed when I was elected as quartermaster.
Now, you were national commander in 60...
No, I was department commander in 64 and 65 and 66. I was national commander in 77, 78.
Now, where is the office of the national commander?
Alexandria, Virginia. We own our own building, but the main part of it is 178 years old, and we're beginning to have difficulty with it. We're looking for a buyer. Well, the west wall is beginning to separate from the framework. They figured it cost us between $90,000 and $100,000 to repair it. If we had the money to go ahead and repair it, and then go from there, we could probably get, we've got 2 lots, and all, we probably could get $450,000 to $500,000 for it. But as is, we can probably get $250,000, $250,000, which will help. In there, of course, we'll have to rent places, or else the auxiliary owns their own headquarters about 2 blocks away from it. Their building is newer and much better shape than ours.
Any other information that...
Yeah, here, we've got...
Okay, so J.B. Cook was national president in 70 and 72.
Yeah, well, I see...
73, 72.
Yeah, he had... you see, he was elected at Salt Lake... Or he was elected senior vice, which is second in command at Salt Lake City. Walden Leonard was elected as commander. We had no business electing Leonard as a commander. He'd had brain surgery and still had his head in a bandage when he came to Salt Lake City in October for that. He died 20th of December, and of course Cook took over as commander, and then he took his own year afterward. Our bylaws say that a man who has been elected to and served a complete term, or served a term as national commander, shall not again be, or ever be again be eligible for national commander. I'm not eligible for it because I've served my complete term. Mm-hmm. But he didn't serve a complete term first. Served about 10 months. And then a lot of people thought that he should abide by the fact that he'd had his. Well, all the appointments there were none of them his. They were all Leonard's appointments. And there were appointments that, well, they fitted in well with Leonard, but they didn't fit in so well with J.B.
Mm-hmm. So he took his own term and made his own appointments.
Yeah.
Then you were national president in 77, 78.
Yeah.
Okay, now, when you're national president, do you go to Alexandria?
The one last year and the one this year are only spending part-time in Alexandria. But I spent full-time there. And at the time I went in, it was an absolute necessity that I spend pretty much full time there because of the fact that we had some things going on that we were trying to root out. And I eliminated some of them, and we corrected some more at the National Convention by changing some elective personnel. But then on top of that, the administrative assistant or secretary and administrative assistant had to resign. And so when she resigned, I had to hire and train a new one. I was fortunate. When my wife took sick, I wanted to get out of the line of succession entirely, and she wouldn't let me. And she passed away in May of 77. And when I got, after 54 years of married life, when I got to be commander, well, that is, I'd been so busy trying to settle things up, and then I got to be commander. I didn't have time to feel sorry for myself or anything of the kind. I kept busy. And since I was there, well, I'm still keeping busy. See, I'm National Budget Director. I'm Quartermaster Adjutant of Region 10. I'm Department Quartermaster Adjutant. I'm Commander of District 5. I'm just Judge Advocate in my own barracks.
So you're busy.
Yeah, I am busy.
Mm-hmm.
But I worked all my life. And if I were to sit back and just retire, I'd be gone in 6 months.
Is there any more background of the association? Is there anything before 48 or 49 with the World War I veterans?
No, because actually, veterans of World War I are the American Legion. We're the ones that formed the American Legion.
When was that formed?
What?
When was it organized? The American Legion.
American Legion in Paris in 1919. Right away after the armistice. Paris in 1918. I don't remember where the first national convention was held. I think in Minneapolis, but I wouldn't swear to it. But you talk about hellraisers, we sure were.
What were the major accomplishments of the American Legion from that period up to World War II?
The major accomplishments of the American Legion is getting care for veterans, formation of veterans hospitals, getting the GI Bill originally, and all the progression that's been made since that. Why, that is the American Legion, of course. The VFW was older, but actually they start with the Spanish-American War. But they were not the factor that, well, you got that 4 million back from World War I. Why, you had a bunch of them that are pretty full of vim and vigor, and we had people among us smart enough to know what to do and how to do it. You know, old Hugh Hoggerty died several years ago. He was a member of the War Veterans Commission for several years. You see, Hoggerty and Gilmer of the War Veterans Commission were both World War I and active. Both of them very active members. And Hoggerty was active, of course, as long as he lived. But he's just as active now. Incidentally, I'm going over to Okmulgee Sunday afternoon. He's celebrating his 90th birthday. You know, Putty?
No.
Well, you'd never take him to be 90 years old, I'll guarantee you that.
What's his name?
Thomas P. Gilmer, known as Putty. He's a member of the War Veterans Commission, representing the American Legion and, of course, us as well.
He lives in Okmulgee?
He lives in Okmulgee, yeah. Well, Hugh Hoggerty lived here in Oklahoma City, and he was one of the original founders of the American Legion in Paris in 1918. But he's gone, has been gone several years. But these are, we've had a lot of as you go through those older records there, you'll find names of people that have had a world of influence. Walton, I guess, died in 1978, finally. Was the first commander. He was the commander about a year and a half. And he was commander when they formed it. Then Kendall, Bill Kendall from Lawton. And then following Kendall was Dorsey Trunk of Midwest City. And then Charlie Fowler, and Fowler's name is on that list. Fowler 2 different times has quit the organization after he was department commander. I don't know whether Charlie's alive or not. The last I heard, he was in a nursing home down there in Lawton. And then following, then there's Clint Lewis, who lives there in Oklahoma now, and he's the only past department commander senior to me. He was commander 3 years ahead of me. And then J.B. Cook, Joe Herman, then I followed Joe.
Anything else about the organization that you haven't told me that's pertinent, like to its foundation, its founders, its objectives, or?
You know, what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you a copy of the purposes of this organization out of our Constitution. And it expresses it. Of course, the big idea is that to many of them, one thing had happened. And when early days, they said, they got people to join and say, we're going to get you a pension. Well, that wasn't one of the original objectives at all, but we've been trying for the service pension. But, well, a friend of mine in Alexandria said, you'll get an across-the-board pension when you get down to 20,000 members, or 20,000 survivors. But the 4,700,000 and some thousand that'll be gone by then, it isn't going to do them any good.
Nope.
It's merely it's a gesture, and that's all. Getting explained. But too many of our members right now need that. They're on a fixed retirement, if any. And that fixed retirement, no matter how big it looked at the time you retired, doesn't look like much now. Even mine doesn't look anything, it doesn't look too promising. And I've got a good one.
Well, Mr. Akin, I think we have a good interview about the World War I veterans.
Well, I have some other stuff that I intended to bring along. And you know how it is.
Oh, yeah.
If your foresight is half as good as your hindsight, you'd be pretty smart.
That's right.
And